So this is a pretty serious video that a friend of mine requested me to do. Normally it's rare for me to make videos like this. After all, I'm that funny kind of guy that likes throwing inside jokes quite often, but let's leave out the usual comedy for a little bit and discuss something serious. Now, for everyone's safety, I'll have to be censoring everyone's names if necessary, and I'll try my best not to get you too pissed off because it's like a Law and Order episode as a video essay. It might be at risk of getting age restricted, which would prevent this from reaching the algorithm. But anyways, let's begin. So a few days ago I was sent a link on my Discord by a friend of mine. Let's call him Alan Smithy for now. It was a tweet. I was confused for a second. It was late at night and I could hardly sleep. I went to the tweet and it contained an audio file with a few images of a Discord chat with all names censored due to privacy reasons. I had to censor some N-words being said here so YouTube doesn't demonetize my video, but that's not the point. I asked him about the context of all this and then Alan told me it's about a potential homicider in an anime community. I was like, why the hell would a weeb go this far? Anyways, like I said, there was an audio file which I haven't listened to yet that night because I needed to sleep. But then Alan told me they were doxxed and were forced to move to a mansion at the time I was writing the script. This already sounded horrifying, which was the reason it immediately caught my attention. I've never felt a video would be so difficult to make, because look, I normally don't make Nexpo style videos or anything mystery themed, and the last time I made a video on Inverness Sound Records, they unjustly took down my video trying to expose those people. I also took quite a long break from making videos due to reasons, but I decided to give it a shot anyway since Alan needed someone they trust to cover this. They then told me to get more info on this from their defense attorney, who was apparently the author of the tweet. Let's call him GC4 for now. I managed to contact him on Discord and told him about the tweet. They didn't recognize me at first, but then I showed the EKT video they were talking about and then the investigation really began. This is what they had to say. So months back, Alan got accused of doing some illegal shit to a minor, but now that evidence is falsified and that court is now practically just a sham. That prosecutor is, or Noxie, who I believed was 17 at the time, 1 year younger than me. Now since I got the cops on him, before GC4 sent me an image of a document showing their 23rd subpoena notice to testify about what they knew about the suspect, which is all in Vietnamese. Let me paraphrase what they have testified so far. They said that months prior, Alan was accused of doing shady things to a minor, but the evidence of all this was actually falsified and the court is now a so-called sham. They believed that the prosecutor was 17 years old, and they called the cops on him. GC4 then continues. So over the course of 5 or so weeks, I've been working on projects and learning about him, until the cops finally gave me 2 things. First off, the text messages that they scraped off and gave to me in a group chat, which is the 4 images in that Twitter post. Second is a knife. A fruit knife which they believed belonged to him, which looks something like this. To summarize, they have been investigating Noxie for around 5 weeks, but then the police gave them 2 things. The first is the text messages on a private Discord server that are then posted on the aforementioned tweet. The first image right here shows a conversation in which I believe Noxie is being paranoid, as he got cops called on and that he has a knife at the ready. He then says that the evidence was made up as the other person in the chat did not like Alan. Since the texts have N-words, I had to blur them out as I don't want YouTube to demonetize this video or take it down. So in order not to risk a community guideline strike, I'll have to try not to piss the platform off. Noxie then says that he does not want the other guy in jail, and that he will take some people with him, who happen to live close to most of them. Shocked by what he said, the other person then says,
"What do you mean by take? You mean kidnap them? And who?"
Noxie then sends images of Twitter profiles of the supposed people he wanted to take with him. The other person in the chat first seems skeptical, but then Noxie explains that he knows where they live and has enough money to make rounds before he goes and takes himself out. The other guy is skeptical again, who thought he was 17 years old. Noxie replies,
"No, I'm 22.
And then he says,
I'm sorry, these guys ruined me, so I'm ruining them back. You should delete this account and start a new persona and never return. I don't want you to get linked to me."
Enraged by this, the other guy said,
Why did you keep your age from me? You're not even better than him. Fuck you. I wasted my time for nothing, you fucking loser.
The last word was actually the N-word, which I had to substitute as first off, I'm not black, and second, YouTube being YouTube. Goddamn, that was genuinely insane to be honest with you. Back to GC4. They then say that they don't personally know who that Noxie guy is, nor does their local department, but they called the police on him because of possible fraud. Later on, GC4 thinks that the reason why Alan and their family were doxxed was to try out how Noxie was gonna do it. Since my brain was too fucked, I was extremely confused as to what was going on. I then listened to the audio file, but it was too choppy and bad quality, so I couldn't understand jack shit, no offense. But my idea was that the audio file was all what GC4 knew about the whole thing. A day later, Alan texts me, whose text would leave me even more confused. I forgot to admit, but we're a two-person account. Brothers. Just let's call my little bro the left hand. He's the accused one. The right hand is me. Shit isn't adding up. Okay, look, it's rare for siblings to share one single account, but I'm getting to that later. Then I asked Alan why they thought Noxie was a potential murderer, and then pointed me those 4 aforementioned images seen in the tweet. Then they say, I didn't even think of the possibility until now. GC4 would later send me the exact knife Noxie happened to use. The cops gave it to them for evidence. A paper towel is there so they wouldn't ruin Noxie's fingerprints on it. Later on, as I told GC4 that this video would not take very long to make, they told me this. This has been the hardest decision I've made so far. I owe a debt to the brothers who I'm defending, so this is why I'm taking on their case, but I never expected it to go this way. Then later on I asked him about the second guy in the chat, who turned out to be an alleged victim who was supposedly 15 years old and was used by Noxie to frame Alan. They likely knew when was like drugged and cracked out of his mind or some shit, they said. And then I asked about 2 brothers using one account thing. Then they told me that it was actually a duo who teamed up at the end of 2024 with a pre-existing account for starting off by only one guy, and they ended up taking turns making stuff. A while before this chat, Alan told me that their brother is the one who was accused. My mind was left circulating in both confusion and fascination. I felt like a detective trying to solve a crime. Then a while later, GC4 would tell me about the allegedly fabricated evidence that Noxie guy made against Alan. I mean, here's the thing. About that evidence that Noxie guy submitted, I knew it was fake as fuck Lamau, because of one thing. Then they sent me the original version of the bait or mental retardation meme. I was left scratching my head as to what the fuck this meme has anything to do with this whole case. Apparently my client had sent this fucking image like so many times in there and I failed to take it seriously, so I knew it was fake because my client doesn't even talk this way, like according to him he was role-playing as Anton Lamau. Later on he clarified that Noxie and the victim tried to frame Alan and forced them to say some heinous shit. That worked, so this is where we are. GC4 said. I asked whether Noxie was in jail or not, but then I got a reply that sent me chills. No, he's still free. I fear that he's probably planning to unalive someone right now. Later on, he said that he lives close to like most of the people he was planning to unalive. 4 of them are Filipinos and based in the Philippines. This gave me the possible thought that the Noxie guy might be from that country. After a few more chats, GC4 then told me, as a result, I don't really have to talk to the cops anymore. I already said what I know about the guy. I do have contacts with like a few detectives. Wow, it feels like my brain has ridden a roller coaster. I've never thought a video would be this hard to make for me. I mean, I still haven't finished a script I've been working on for over a whole year. But anyways, I never really thought of making a detective kind of video. I mean, I like infusing a lot of humor in my videos because that's my style. But in this case, there are actual lives that are in real danger. Oh, and Noxie, if you're actually watching this, please do not take down my video. This video was not meant to defame anyone mentioned here, so for y'all who are watching this, please do not attack or harass anyone. This whole video is based on the testimonies of 2 people that I personally know, whose identities are kept hidden so they don't end up in any potential danger. Truly, it is a very horrifying case which I really hope gets resolved soon, but only if no one is harmed, and I really hope that's the case. Holy hell, was it kinda like an expo video, or maybe not. But anyways, that's all for this video. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys when I have the opportunity to do so. And as always, peace, and stay safe.